Hey guys, welcome again to the Big Home Ed Conversation. As usual, this is the podcast where we're going to be breaking down and discussing the sometimes huge challenges and the actual delights that we experience for educating our kids. So, as usual, good evening, Ashley. How are you doing? I feel
I'm
like we've had
good.
a great conversation already, so we've stopped nattering to actually start recording. So,
Yes.
just share the conversation around. We're just post Mother's Day here in the UK. So those of you who might be overseas, we are literally just reminiscing about the delights of our Sunday. My poor mother was staying with us, fell down the stairs and broke her actual foot. So that was a fantastic thing. And then my smallest refused to even bother coming downstairs and actually gave me my card because she was too busy playing and didn't want to. So between those two things, I felt very special and the the entire day very, very lonely and very, very okay. Taking care of my poor mum instead.
Yeah.
She was in so much pain last time. I really felt for her. So yeah, fingers crossed she'll heal nicely. But that was a memory to be had. But yes, actually, you were just
Yeah.
telling me about what your girls were making for you.
Yeah. So they do this lovely art class with other home ed kids. And it's the woman that runs it is just so fantastic. And when I picked them up from class last week, they had turned their paintings upside down and said, you can't look at them until Sunday because they're for Mother's Day. And I was like, wonderful. So when I look at them, I look at my oldest first, and it's this beautiful flower pot. And on each petal of the flowers and on the leaves are little kind words like loving, kind. And it says like Happy Mother's Day 20. So sweet. And then I look at my middle child, and she just drew her favorite snakes. I was like, that's lovely as well.
So
Lo-
beautiful, beautiful snakes. What are you trying
yeah.
to tell me, child?
She's like, this one has venom. This one is a cobra. This one, okay. It was lovely, cute. Yes.
Thinking about you the whole time.
The whole time, the whole time, she was like, this is exactly what my mom means to me.
It's a great. I was going to say,
Yeah.
there's some real wonderful things about home education. There's obviously when if you've got kids in school, I suppose they tend to be doing various Mother's Day things at school, maybe to kind of bring home or to be sneaky about. I mean, I've got my poor husband trying to find time in the week to sneak away to work.
Yeah.
I'm not around and be like banishing you to another part of the house so they can actually finish something this week because it was so sweet. And it's always a really great opportunity I always find with birthdays and like Christmases and Mother's Days and stuff like that to kind of check in with how they're doing with photo but stuff as well. Like it's really amazing to see their writing year on year as well, like kind of like compare from the year before and it's so sweet.
Yeah. I love that for all of the Christmas decorations and all that stuff too. It's
Oh
just so
yeah.
nice to save those.
See the progress that happens. It's
Yeah.
really quite sweet actually. Okay, so I wanted to like kind of like try and segue a little what we're actually talking to you guys about today. So we want to talk to you guys about success and failure. So the thought behind this is very much the idea that society believes that success is a certain thing. And so I just really want to chat around that a little bit really and really what people see failure as because as film educators, we know that one of the things that we love to have chucked at us myth wise, and obviously we don't want to keep getting into the myths in here, but the idea that obviously our children maybe won't be able to do their exams or they won't be able to
Mhm.
go on and do amazing things one day or they won't become wealthy or they'll be rubbish at social skills and all that nonsense, right? So we know that's a no nonsense, so we don't need to address that. But the point is that as a society, we do believe that success looked a certain way. And what was it portrayed to you as, Ashley? When you were growing up, what did you see success as? What were you supposed to be?
The idea for all of, because I've asked my friends who went through school the same time as I did, if this varied, and the answer is 1,000% no. We all had the same vision drilled into us, which was you study hard, you get good grades, you do all the extracurricular activities possible to build up your resume so that you can get into a good college and get a good job and make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the absolute end goal. And it's hysterical because I have a friend who their entire family, brothers and sisters, are doctors in the medical field. And they did not want to do that. They are a very successful architect who owns their own company, makes so much money, it's ridiculous, but is still considered to be like, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but like maybe not less than, but definitely the career path was questioned the entire route because they didn't go into the medical field. And that to me is just crazy because it's crazy for everyone in our generation, I feel like, that experienced that. Because now I feel that we all have a ton of anxiety as well that has come out of that pressure cooker of a youth that we were in. And I don't blame anyone for it. I don't blame our parents for having that ideal. I think at the time, that was very much the reality that if you didn't go down that path, if our parents didn't do everything they could to set us up for success in that way, then they were doing something wrong. They were failing us. They were going to cause permanent damage that could not be reversed if they did not get us into the absolute best school possible. And that included everything from aggressive SAT preparation, because at that point in the States, and still now, I think maybe to a slightly lesser degree, SATs are crucial for college entrance. And so there was a lot of stress your sophomore and junior years of high school to be able to get good SAT scores. And I remember when the scores would come out and the people would in our grade would be sharing their scores, and you would just be like, oh yeah, okay, that person did really well. I did better than this person, but worse than this person. And you just, that like constant pressure was
Yeah.
just absolutely too much. I
Yeah.
think for where we were in life, it was just too much. Yeah.
Absolutely astonishing, isn't it? I mean, I can remember a young lady who was doing A levels a year ahead of me, in this country, the UK, and she wanted to be a doctor. And she got straight A stars at GCSE, every single one A star. And she got I think what the equivalent of A stars, A stars at A levels as well, in subjects required to supposedly get into her pre-med, and there were no places available. That despite getting grades, she still couldn't get into a medical pre-med course. I think she ended up having to go overseas to get her pre-med. And I was just horrified for her that she worked so hard and she did everything that they told her to, and she still couldn't get what she was supposed to be getting. But she UTQ was
Yeah.
great. And I think that as I came out of school, I had definitely been academic, had done pretty well, the best, but certainly up there. And I came out with it really unsettled. I actually didn't really know what I wanted to do next. So I did pre university, and the horror,
Mhm.
the horror of my parents and other people as well that I didn't was really quite sad. And left me with a marked feeling of like, oh, I should be ashamed of myself. Like I should have gone, I should have furthered myself even more, but I really didn't know what I wanted to do next. And I think that truly it goes so far beyond education and academia. It goes into finding a partner. It goes into getting your own house and having your children and like what's expected of us, like what success looks like. I think it's close to everything. It touches everything, like the food you're eating, the way your body looks, the way you talk, the accent you use, the place you live. Like there is so
Yeah.
many things that are factored in and judged, whether we like to think of it as judging or not, but if we are looking at somebody else and going, oh, wow, they've got a really big house itself, whether it's positive or not, it's judgment. It's creating stereotyping. It's creating an ideal in our heads of what that looks like. And that's because that's what's being told to us. Like we're supposed to be aiming for this stuff. So of course we look at them and we get curious. What have you done? How did you get this far? What kind of jobs do you do? Like you just
Yeah.
can't help yourself. Like the curiosity is there. And that's because we've been taught that we're supposed to be it has all been kind of in the last 3 or 4 years, and I credit home ed for this in a big way because it's helped to slow me down, and helped me to kind of see and do and get curious about other stuff. But I really noticed how it had really squashed my interest in learning. Like I had so many moments when I recognised that I am so busy on the treadmill, going in the direction that everyone told me to, that if I wanted to really learning, it better have an outcome. And
Mhm.
I have a career idea in mind or a way of monetizing that. If I was going to spend time doing it, then it better have a benefit.
Yeah.
And it really has created a kind of strange, like Homer has created this really lovely reconnection with kind of curiosity for me. Has made me realise in so many years, getting my hands in the dirt, just sitting and listening to the birds, spending
Yeah.
time with people, sitting and making a fuzzy pom pom bee at the homemade group, because whatever it is actually that is me succeeding, because I'm actually here in my life. I'm seeing and feeling and touching and enjoying. And the successful me that society told me I should be, maybe 10 years ago, I was chronically depressed. In both relationships that I really counted on. And was yeah, like I was going from job to job every few years. I was always trying to push myself forward, sure, earning more money, sure, being able to buy a house. And yes, okay, these things are not something to sniff at. Like, of course, we want our kids to be able to do those things. But successfully, if you want to do it in the sort of traditional sense of what people wanted from me, was not happy. Like, I was not a happy person. What do you think? How do you find that?
Yeah, I think that it bleeds into so much of that. So stepping back to what you were saying earlier about that kind of like keeping up with the Joneses and that pressure to maintain this image, because you see the person with the bigger house and you're thinking, okay, that's what I want. What am I doing to get there? Or even so much as to like, how do I one up them, or how do I get even more than that? Right. Because if I have more than that, then certainly I'll be happier than they are. Or, I'll have earned the best job I can get, or whatever that success bar looks like for them. But are they truly happy? Are they truly fulfilled? Or is it more about saying, that's wonderful what they're doing over there, and that makes them happy, and that's great, but recognizing that you're different and what might be good for you is not what's good for them. And so truly seeking out those things that fulfill you and really, fill your cup and cause that happiness to happen in you. And I think that's kind of what you're saying about making the little pom-pom animal at co-op, taking that moment to pause and just do something for the sake of doing it, because you enjoy it, because it's bringing you joy in that moment. And there was this I don't know if it was a home education quote or if it was just a parenting quote, and I can't remember it exactly. I'm going to have to look it up now because you made me think of this. But it was just about not teaching children to celebrate the big things. While that's important, and obviously you should do that too, don't ignore a birthday or something like that, but making sure that they're appreciating and enjoying the everyday. So being like, gosh, this is just a really good cup of coffee. Like, or wow, this is so wonderful that the sun is out today and we can have lunch outside. Like, let's do that. Like, how lovely is this? And just constantly reinforcing those little moments throughout the day, because that is what truly then leads them to grow up appreciating the everyday. Because if your happiness is dependent on these huge wins, then it does have that like depression moment, right? Like the time in between can feel really heavy, or it can feel like you can't bring that to yourself. I'm probably not explaining this right, but it just still allows your happiness to depend on much more achievable things throughout your everyday. And I was like, gosh, that's really interesting, because I do think that I wait for these like large moments. Like, yes, we've got to finish this curriculum, or we've got to make sure they achieve that next swimming badge, or whatever the thing might be, because that's what we were measured on. We were measured on the SAT scores, the GCSEs. We were measured on all of those tests and tests constantly. And so I think that for me too, home ed has created a space where not only am I able to kind of recapture my own education the way that means something to me, I'm not learning just to pass a test, I'm learning for the sake of learning, but hopefully to give my kids that same enjoyment and appreciation of the everyday.
Yeah, like real satisfaction in a
Yeah.
thing that you're doing. I would say like, the process is as fun as the outcome. Like, for example, like going on holiday this year, like we've got an actual board holiday coming up. We're just like, I can't even quite
Yeah.
remember that. And it's
Yeah.
the first time I've been abroad since the Caribbean nightmares. So I'm really quite in awe of the fact that it's coming around the corner. And I am genuinely, like, my kids were saying, I can't wait, I can't wait. I said, no, no, no. This is the best bit. I said, the leading up to it is the best bit. Like, this is when you're planning, you're thinking, you're imagining, and you're researching it. You're looking at the country on, like, we're doing a little kind of mini project at the minute, just like eating some of the food and researching the wildlife and like imagining what birds we might be able to spot, or maybe we might be able to see a narwhal or whatever. Like, right, it's just really fun. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's that like, you know, this was a narwhal. It's like, absolutely not. But it would be certainly really amazing if we did. This idea of like that feeling, that imagination, that curiosity, and just having fun, looking forward to something, or as you say, just every day. Like you say, that waking up and just being like, oh guys, look, the sun's out, like, let's go outside, and like simple stuff. And I think what can obviously happen when we're stuck in that like real treadmill situation. I mean, it's funny
Yeah.
when we were talking about doing this episode, I was saying about offering motherhood, the name of my company.
Mhm.
The literal reason for that being called offering motherhood was because of this idea that we how long does it get set on the motorway? Like, we get told this is the direction we're going in. You get the grades, you get your house, you have babies, you do the things, right? And so precious few of us actually go slowly enough to even notice that there's 1,000 different routes that we could be taking, that in every opportunity is another opportunity waiting to be opened up and noticed. And that if you're going too fast, if you've got your head down and you're just like, no, I've got to work on the next thing. I can't be happy until I've done this. I can't be happy until I've done this. You're not giving yourself a chance to look up and see that there are so many avenues you could be. One of the reasons why when I talk to parents about home education, I say to them that, like, if you want to home educate, that's enough. Like, you don't have to have any other reasons. Like, the point is that home education, alongside all of the other kind of more enlightened pastimes in terms of, I don't know, like baking, gardening, getting outdoors, enjoying the forest, spending actual time doing things like crafting, painting, drawing, writing, like whatever feels good that you're just doing for the sake of doing, like whatever that looks like for you, if it's cleaning, whatever, like whatever feels
Right.
good that you can do methodically and just take your time with and just be completely present with, like whatever that is. If it feels good for you and you are able to access that and actually experience it, you are really living. And I think on the world made like with, and I keep going from tangents, yeah, bear with me. But there's a conversation I have with some ladies that this amazing sort of guided sensory walk through the Sun Gardens near us. And literally we're taking our time, we're smelling every flower, it's touching every interesting feeling looking thing and testing whether or not our brains were bright about what we thought it was going to feel like. And then we touched it, it's like, oh no, it's actually really spiky, or it's, I thought that was going to be soft, but it's not. And oh, that smells
Mm.
really interesting. And we had such a lovely time. And then we realised that we were running out of time. We had to get back to the main bit of the front to go meet someone else, who was said couldn't meet us. And we started walking back. And in the 2-3 minutes that we were focused on getting back to there, I paused and went, guys, have you noticed? Has anybody seen anything? Have you smelled anything? Have you noticed anything? I was like, oh my goodness, look at that. Literally, instantly switched off the sensory experience, just like that. And it's so silly. All of us were just shook by it. I genuinely got goosebumps at the idea that as soon as you have a goal or an outcome or something that you're working towards, you put in literally head down and mosey on through. And whether that's
Yeah.
because that's where we've been trained to be, or whether that's because that's just the nature of humans, I don't know. Like, if we focus on outcome, then we just get so driven to it, and it can actually really rob us of so much that I just, as you say, I just really hope
Yeah.
that this slower paced way of life and my kids seeing me, yes, you
Yeah.
can always be happy. I'm not saying I'm literally happy 24/7. That's impossible. Like, that's not even a goal. That's not what success is either, truly, because you can't be happy all the time. But certainly enjoying my life more than the average. I'm not a slave to anything. Of
Right.
a 4-year-old. Um,
Same. So I think that for me, it's very hard to do that. It's hard to stay present. It's hard to enjoy the moment. It's just something I struggle with. And I actually think this as I'm even looking forward to holidays or vacations, like you were earlier talking about, and being like, oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. And then it happens. And it can either be a letdown because it's not meeting your expectations, or it does just go by so quickly. And you think, okay, now what's next? What am I looking forward to next? And so I'm hoping that by trying to be intentional about this, that my kids will find this much easier than I find it.
Yeah.
So even if it's marginally better, that will be an improvement. So baby steps.
It can be really hard. And you are totally right that it can have a flip side, can't it? That idea of looking forward to something. Because yeah, you're right. As soon as you get something in your head or something kind of coming, you do stop being in the day. I mean, I'm even guilty of it today. Actually, it's my husband's birthday in a couple of days, and we went to the shops to go and get all the ingredients. And to be fair, I have just been in a really grumpy mood today.
It happens, right?
We just have our days, right? Like, I don't even know what time of month it is, but frankly, I am not in a great mood. And obviously, going down the market for me as an potentially autistic ADHD woman is a sensory overwhelm, and I hate it. And I never like going in them anyway. And going in with two small children is a
Oh, well,
hilarious
that's
thing.
never fun.
It's just like torture myself for the morning. Why not? But anyway, as an aside to that, obviously my experience this morning, like trying to get the ingredients for the cake, and then my head is like planning, going, okay, we're still going to get some right this afternoon. I've got to do this tomorrow. I need to get the cake done. Oh my goodness, I've got someone coming over, and so I've got to do this. So like, I tend to then start like planning and like mapping out my days or weeks even ahead of me, and then my brain's lost. And so now I'm just getting irritated by them existing around me because frankly I'm busy and distracted now.
Yep.
And my brain is busy, and so I have to keep. That's one of the biggest challenges for me as well, is just coming back into the movement and recognizing the questions they're asking and see what they're doing, and like actually allow them to have some responsibility and to not get irritated with them because my brain is busy. And it's so tricky, isn't it?
Mhm.
But this has such a profound effect on who we become and how we parent and how we cope in our lives, like the way that we move, like how impatient we get, how irritated we get with things. Like that this does have a knock-on effect. It's not just about education. The
No.
this
Yeah.
expectations image to uphold means that you do have a constant fear of people judging your kids, fear of people judging you, worrying about the language you use, worrying about the way you behave, how you look, how greasy your hair is. Like this thing that does, it never ends. And so the more you can have that in your life, the less happy you can be. That's why I honestly can't believe that anyone who is still very much stuck in the mindset of that yes, the way society views it is the way it should be. Like people who are genuinely living that and believe it, like I did, I used to. I was so happy, and I just honestly can't imagine anyone living that way is actually truly happy. All the while they're desperately trying to please the hopes and expectations and dreams of whatever of ancestors 2 generations ago. Like it makes no
Yeah.
sense, does it?
Yeah. And I think we all get to that point at some time in our, whether it's just your career or your parenting journey or just life, that we realize that we have to take a little bit of ownership of our own happiness, frankly probably all of it, but at least a portion of it, and recognize that no one's going to do it for us. And if we don't start to examine what we need in general, but certainly to make us happy, and work to fold pieces of that into our daily life, we're never going to be content, or we're always going to feel that push to find the next thing. And for me, I think it comes in that form of like the anxiousness of like, okay, what's next? What am I missing? What am I forgetting? What do I need to plan? So taking a step back from that and just enjoying the day and focusing on what's important right now is something that for me, that lends itself to a better outcome at the end of the day, a more enjoyable day.
It makes me wonder,
So,
doesn't it? Like this idea that people have that if you raise a child to embrace these sort of things, to slow down, to not necessarily be willing to jump on the machine wagon and to be a cog and to just crack on and do things. But we've obviously potentially going to create children who refuse to do it. And this has been a big fear of mine. So I'm going to sort of flip to the failure side of things, like what we actually kind of envision that to be.
mhm.
But what I do sometimes worry about is that I will have children who literally will refuse to participate in like, get the idea of that boss who's just like, you will just do it this way. And I'm like, but I can see a better way that's cheaper and easier and takes me less time. No, you will deliver this, but it will assume some capacities they absolutely will need to take direction and do the things they're supposed to be doing. Obviously, we can totally appreciate there are certain scenarios where having your own mind really isn't what they need. I think that truly, if they find themselves in that situation and they don't want to be doing it, and it does make them miserable, maybe I'm really like crazy to believe that they honestly should quit. They should walk away and they should go and find a job that suits them better. And I guess that there is definitely an element of like getting them to understand they're going to have to work their way to jobs where they'll have more autonomy, where they'll have more free reign and more like creativity will be allowed a bit more. But I honestly really do hope that they will be entrepreneurial or they'll come up with a way of collaborating with something, or they'll go out there and they'll have an idea or an adventure, a solution to something that they'll be going to someone with. Or I don't know. I don't know what their future holds. I have no idea who they'll become. But I really
Yeah.
hope that they do understand what they need their days to look like, what their body needs, what their. But yes, okay, I can sacrifice 3 days my week to be literally in the office, behaving myself, doing everything I'm told. Like, I can do that, but actually then I only need 2 days working from home where I get to sit in my pants on my sofa the bare minimum, and maybe that's the way it needs to work for them. And maybe they'll, like whatever it is,
Yeah.
like
I
I don't
I
know.
think that what we're doing, and I think probably every household is to some way trying to do this, right? Trying to move our children forward in a way that allows them to respond in a situation that is in the way that's best for them. So whether that's in a relationship, whether that's in a career, an interaction with a spouse, manager, or just a colleague, whatever that looks like, that they would be able to take that moment to just say, okay, but I'm self-reflecting here. This is what I need. And let's find a way so that what you need and what I need can coexist.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a lot of what home education helps to foster, because their days aren't spent confined by a time schedule, like the bells going off to announce the next class. There's not that feeling of a lack of privacy, right? That constant surveillance that they're under. They're really able to some extent, explore education through channel that means something to them. So when we were talking about before about studying geography through the lens of animals and who lives where, and being able to fold in their interests into things. And so hopefully that flexibility and kind of customization that is definitely a gift of education. I understand that if your child's in a school, traditional school system, that they just can't do that. And that's fair. That's how it is. And that's just a different experience. And we're lucky. Yeah, we're lucky that we can do it. And so I really value that. I really appreciate that. And I think that's kind of what you were saying, and hoping that they can find out what works for them and find a career that works for them. I think that probably will happen naturally for children that have that type of an experience, and hopefully for children that go to school as well. I think this generation is a little more aware of the mental needs of everybody and working to meet people with what kind of support they might need given any kind of needs that they have. I don't think that really happened in our time as much anyway. So I think it had to be a truly extreme case to have counselors get involved or any kind of therapy happen. And I do think that now we're seeing more of it, probably still not enough, but more. And so hopefully people are also just more aware of their mental needs, and taking those moments to do yoga or meditate or listen to their bodies.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's important. It's really important.
Because I think that we, the more we can foster that, the better, I think. But I think, like, ultimately, for me, I think that all I envision for my kids as failure would be if they truly ended up living a life where they were very unhappy and chronically, like, not able to meet their own needs. I think for my sake, that I really hope they're able to find joy in whatever their life looks like, whether they're surf bombing around the world or whether they're doing a stable job and have a house and a wife and 2 kids, like whatever it looks like. I do not care what choices they make and where they go next. Obviously, within the realms of the law and
Of course.
being citizens to some degree. But
Yeah.
I don't want them literally being a slave to a system that let's face it, hasn't really got our backs and never has. And it's
Mm.
whether we can consider it doing its best with limited scope and limited resources and a lot of things, or whether we believe in a huge conspiracy emerges, but the treatment that we that we have to trust ourselves first. And as you say, like no one's coming to rescue us, no one's going to fix it, not the government, not school, not a counsellor, nobody. We have to take choices and take action for ourselves. And if we're not doing that, then and also this for all comes if we're not doing it for ourselves and demonstrating that to our kids, that we can't tell them to live a life where they're going to care about this stuff and then not do it ourselves. Like that's they're just going to be, but they do what we do, don't they? They don't do what we say. So
Right.
we have to be really careful not to kind of portray that's what it's supposed to look like. And this is where the whole generational stuff works. Like over time, we will make a lot of changes. They will get a lot better from us. Hopefully, they will do even better for their kids. And that's all we can hope, really, is that a couple of generations down the line, then they'll be living a life that makes sense, truly makes sense for them.
Yeah.
And we're working our way there. But I think I wish that the societal expectation of failure and success would stop looking so clean cut and just give people a bit more freedom. Just allows me a community of people who are different. Like we're not all supposed to be academic lawyers, doctors, big houses. Like that's what we're supposed to look like. It is supposed to be varied with lots of different interests and abilities and variety. And it's just so sad that people who haven't got the doctorate and the big house feel in any way a failure for not having that. That they can't see themselves successful because they've simply got a job and they're taking care of their kids, or even if they're really struggling and they haven't got a job and they haven't got somewhere to live, actually they're just surviving day to day. Like they are still successful, they're still alive and working their way through their life and
Yeah.
doing what makes sense for them. And trying. And I think that we just have to accept that this image is false. It doesn't exist unless you are really making it about you and you're enjoying it and you're doing everything that makes sense for you within that. Like, it's not about well stereotyping it. Like, you can absolutely be wealthy, you can absolutely be a doctor, you can absolutely have a massive house. As long as that makes you really bloody happy,
Yeah.
then we're
Yeah.
good, right? Like, that's all we want. And
Yeah.
I think that's all we can really hope for.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's what we strive for every day, right? Just to actually have our children be happy. That's definitely a success for me. I would love them to be happy with where they are. You know, if we think about success when they're an adult out in the world, happy with the job they have, happy with the life they have, happy with their relationships, friends, family, all of that. And then,
As
yeah,
happy
and
as it can be.
yeah, exactly. Positively contributing to society, a true love of learning. Yeah, all of that I think would be wonderful. Probably, I don't know if it's asking a lot, but that's the goal.
I think this is the thing. I think we can definitely ask for happiness, and I think that sometimes I think that aiming for happiness in itself is a trap, which is another great episode. We'll definitely touch on that more another time. But the
Yeah,
idea is that ultimately you should be aiming for the rainbow. I would say like it's totally fine to be experiencing all the feelings all the time. Like I can experience like anger, happiness, real excitement, very much sadness, actual tears, all in the same day. And I actually count that as a good day now because I felt my
yeah,
feelings, I felt safe in those feelings. They have taught me something. I actually heard what they had to say. I'm moving slow enough that I can actually do something about them. I'm not necessarily having to be staying stuck in whatever difficult situations made me feel that way. And that's really kind of the joy for me is I think that's what true happiness is actually getting to feel those feelings and trust
yeah,
that and instead of hey, you've got choices you can make and you can definitely swerve and do what you need to do that.
yeah,
Um but yeah, and definitely had a great conversation to consider other times. Like consciously we've been really enjoying this one. So
yeah.
yeah, but please do come and find us. I am off-roading motherhood and Ashley is homeschool.in.progress. So do come and find us on Instagram. Try and send us a message. We know this from you are listening, which is really exciting. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
And then do please come and actually say hi and tell us what you're thinking. Tell us what you love. Tell us what you don't like. Come and have a debate with us. We have a lively conversation. So if you don't agree with something we're saying, please do come and tell us. Try and be, of course, no trolls allowed. Not the mood. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. Happy Sunday, and we'll speak to you all again soon. Bye, guys. Take care.
Bye.